Donald Trump spoke to Vladimir Putin today. And you probably had no idea that Trump spoke to Putin today because, well, the big beautiful bill was a major distraction. So I don't blame you for not knowing that this went down, but we need to talk about it because not only did it go down, President Trump isn't even talking about it. Nothing on Truth Social, nothing on the White House website. Yet we're hearing everything from the Kremlin. And so I figured, let's go ahead and break it down because I find what happened today was kind of like a slap in the face to Donald Trump because after said conversation took place, Vladimir Putin targeted residential buildings and hit one in Kyiv, which is just like, wait, didn't they just talk? I guess that conversation did not help. And so that's why I figured, let's break down the official announcement from the Kremlin. Let's read it and then kind of give a good understanding. Before we get started, do make sure you subscribe and you turn on notifications. Also, we have a free Substack letter in which I email out every day my news and smaller videos and things like that you would see on TikTok. Plus, whenever we put new videos up like this, you get this emailed out to you. It is free. You can go ahead and sign up for it. There is a paid version in which you get your name at the end of my videos. And so you could do that all on Substack. I'll put the link in bio. So that being said, this is once again coming from the Kremlin website, in which it says, another almost hour-long telephone conversation between President of Russia, Vladimir Putin, and President of the United States, Donald Trump. Donald Trump began the conversation by announcing that the U.S. Congress passed administration's flagship bill envisioning reforms in taxation, immigration, and the energy sector. President Trump himself calls it, quote, one big, beautiful bill. Vladimir Putin wished Trump success in implementing the changes he envisioned and naturally offered greetings for Independence Day, the National Day of the United States, which will be celebrated tomorrow, July 4th. This is where things start getting interesting because they start then talking about Russia playing a significant part in establishing the United States as a nation, including during the War of Independence 250 years ago, and then in the Civil War. Okay. Then we start talking about the bulk of the things. They really talked about two subjects, or actually three, if you include them talking about propaganda videos that they want to exchange. I know, it's very, very strange. But they talked about the Middle East and Ukraine. For this part of the video, I really want to just focus on Ukraine. Now, in the description here, it says that the detailed discussion of the situation surrounding Iran, that was what the most part of it was. But realistically, it's about Ukraine. This is what we need to talk about. It says here that Donald Trump has once again raised the issue of ending the hostilities as soon as possible, which means that, according to at least the things that we've heard, Donald Trump pretty much said to Vladimir Putin, it's time for a ceasefire here, dude. We need to iron this out. It says, in turn, Vladimir Putin noted that we still have continued the search for political, negotiated solution to the conflict. He informed his counterpart in the progress of implementing the humanitarian agreements reached during the second round of direct Russian-Ukrainian talks held in Istanbul. He also noted that Russia was willing to pursue negotiations. Additionally, the president of Russia said that Russia would strive to achieve its goals, namely the elimination of the well-known root causes that led to the current state of affairs, the bitter confrontation that we're seeing now. And that, quote, Russia will not back down from these goals. So, we're going to pause here and see. Donald Trump asked Putin to stop. Putin turned around and said, they are not backing down. This, on a normal day, would be ground-shaking news over every single legacy / TikToker / everyone's platform. Yet so far, I'm the only one talking about this. And I find that quite interesting because Vladimir Putin on the phone straight up said to Trump, I am not stopping. Once again, bringing up the root causes, in which the demands is his root causes, and those demands keep getting bigger and bigger, to the latest one being that Ukraine needs to destroy all the Western weapons they have. And he also wants the United States to stop sending weapons to Ukraine. What you're saying to yourself, wait a minute, Joey, let's back up. Didn't that just happen yesterday? Yeah. If you don't know, yesterday, which technically speaking, if we go through the dates and the time, it was, I guess, very early on July 2nd here in the United States, it was announced via NBC News, of all things, that the Pentagon is going to be putting a pause and halt all arms shipments to Ukraine as it pertains to air defense systems. Now, we did a video on this on TikTok, and people are like, wait a minute, I'm not seeing this. And not only did people not see this, European leaders had no idea. Ukraine had no idea. Even as of this morning, we heard Zelensky's team say, we're trying to get a phone call with Trump to figure out what is going on here because they're doing this without even talking to us. We have no idea what's happening. And then this phone call took place. As far as we know, according to the Pentagon, what they said today, they're doing this pause because, well, the United States under Biden sent too many things to Ukraine, and now our stockpile has dwindled. Now, I want to counter that because we're not sending Ukraine the new shiny things that were really truly meant for the U.S. We're getting them the old stuff, the older versions of these pack versions of the interceptors and things like that, things that are about to expire, things that are maybe not the shiniest things, but we're charging Ukraine full price to make new ones for the United States. So we were giving them old stuff, making new stuff for ourselves. So it wasn't like we were losing anything. We were making new things that was earmarked for Ukraine. And we've got the frozen Russian assets, the windfall of that from the G7, in which we tell Ukraine, hey, look, we're going to give this to you, spend it with us. So we're making money on this. It's not like we're doing anything bad here. And Ukraine is testing out things, and they're fighting a battle for us so that we don't have to fight Russia. And long story short, Ukraine's not getting these air defense missiles now. And it comes at a time to where if we look at the past 5 largest drone attacks, aerial attacks on Ukraine, and in Kyiv, all those areas, the 5 biggest ones took place in June because we're seeing Russia and Vladimir Putin strike not only more, but with more ammunition. So more frequent and more munitions, more drones, 400 plus almost every single time. Actually, at the moment that I'm recording this video, we know that Russia has sent at least 200 drones into Ukraine. By the time this video is online and edited, it's probably more than that. And so Ukraine needs these air defense systems. It's not like they have a massive stockpile because the other missiles they were going to get went to Israel. And that was going to be the resupply. And so this then blew things up worse because yesterday we heard from the Kremlin, who was jolly for joy. I mean this, I have never seen the Kremlin so happy in my entire life. Because in their eyes, they're saying, you know what? Ukraine's not going to have as many air defense systems. They're not going to have none, but they're not going to have as many. So that means if we keep sending hundreds and hundreds of drones every night, missiles every night, we will 100% wear down Ukraine's air defense systems and hit a ton of stuff. And if we do that, we could then pressure Ukraine into surrendering. That is a fever dream for Russia. And between Donald Trump's Pentagon doing that, between Donald Trump's Pentagon not allowing Zelensky to buy Patriot systems, or Germany for that matter, Germany wants to buy 2 of them for Ukraine, and the fact that Trump still refuses to put sanctions on Putin. What does that look like? And what do you want Ukraine to do? That's the other question. Because we find ourselves in a scenario in which Zelensky has done everything Trump has ever said. Unconditional ceasefire? Yes, let's do it. Okay? You want us not to hit this with our missiles? We won't. That's fine. You want us to sit down with Russia? Even though they're talking nonsense? Fine, we will do it. Let's do it as long as it means sanctions. Still nothing. Still nothing. And here's the deal. I'm not blaming those in Congress because I've spoken to senators, I've spoken to congressmen, congresswomen, I've spoken to, we've got the votes. If the bill today, if I had the bill and I said we're going to vote on it today, we're looking at a 90-something odd person count in the Senate that would say yes, a guaranteed 88, but we're saying that there's 90 because there's a couple people that were like, well, maybe. But John Thune does not want to put it on the floor yet because according to his team, we could do all this work. We could put this out there. We could sign off on this and hand it to Donald Trump. And if Donald Trump is still pro-Russia, pro-Putin, because at this point he's not pro-life because he's allowing this to continue for so long. If he's still pro-Putin, he's not going to sign that. And then all the work that we just did goes out the window. And so we find ourselves in a horrible scenario in which Zelensky is saying to the United States, we want to buy this stuff. The U.S. says no. Europe says we want to buy this stuff. The U.S. says no. The U.K. and other countries are stepping up as much as possible, but they can't manufacture. Germany can only manufacture so much at once. And a lot of these ceasefires, a lot of these things all depend on the United States. Because you can make the argument, well, can't another country give up their patriots? And to an extent, they can. But these countries are preparing for a war with Russia within the next few years. The United States is kind of far away. And our stockpiles is pretty big. We also just kind of gave them to Israel, which is a whole nother subject we could talk about another time. But once again, without pressure on Putin, without putting a higher gas cap, oil cap on Putin and Russia, without doing all of these little things, which doesn't really cost the U.S. anything, Trump is just allowing the war to extend. And it sucks. Because every day I have to hear from friends and family and my reporters I work with about we were in the bunker for 8 hours. We were stuck downstairs. My apartment building got hit. I had glass fall on my head. We hear these things every day. And to me, the saddest thing, like I said on my live on TikTok today, is there are children who said, and I can't, this is stuck in my head. They don't, when they go to bed at night, they don't know if they're going to wake up in the morning. Russia's doing that. That's Russia. And the United States has the ability to put their foot down, and they're not. And that's the upsetting thing. Because sometimes it feels like Ukrainians are asking for help, and instead they're being thrown coals on top of them. And all they're doing is asking for help. Seriously, sanctions, that's all. Let's just sign the sanctions bill. Trump, say yes. You heard Putin lie. Say to you that they want to end this war, but they're going to do anything possible. And then today, send literally hours later, drones into residential buildings. That has to be a smack in the face to Trump, right? It has to be. It should be an indication that that phone call didn't help. Diplomacy is not helping. Pressure is what's needed. Stronger together. Without that, we're just wasting time here, allowing Russia to kill more civilians every single day. I'll be sure to keep you guys updated, especially because we're waiting on Donald Trump to say something, because he's yet to say anything. And we're also assuming, and once again, this is my assumption, that Trump has to call Zelensky and explain it's not working. And maybe we'll see something. I don't know. It is a very bad situation to be part of, because now it's like open season for Russia. And once you're like, ooh, we can hit it whatever we want now. And it's upsetting. I'll be sure to keep you guys updated though, so please do share my videos and follow me for more. Make sure you hit that subscribe button and hit the bell button. And remember, the Substack, the free newsletter, sign up down below. There is a paid version. Have your name at the end of the video. I think we have like 18 people back there right now. I just want to thank you guys for joining me. Please subscribe, turn on notifications, give this video a thumbs up. I'm Joey. I'll see you later.